Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. This is a part of the batch of the new ideas. I got this in a comment and I had wrote it down. This will be a very special one that place Naruto in a different environment, a different place. Let us go beyond the normal Naruto lore and make something more exciting in a different way. Spice things up a bit. So this is basically what if Naruto predated Kaguya. A clan that was here before the Ōtsutsuki descended from the heavens. However, there will be some overlap into the real world, the natural law of the Naruto universe. But trust me, just give it a chance, it's gonna be fun. And don't forget to go ahead and comment your ideas over the community tab. Just scroll up a bit, you will see the posts. I am still jotting down all of your ideas, but if you want to comment it here, go ahead and just comment it on any of the newest posts and I'll jot them down for future use. So without further ado or wasting more time, let's begin now guys. The world was silent. Thus it was under the blood, red moon, as Kaguya Ōtsutsuki sat at the top of the tree. She just sat there, basking in it all. She'd placed everyone under her control, under an illusion. Below her, the infinite Tsukiyomi had claimed every single life. All of them wrapped up, captivated, now hers to do with as she pleased. Yet, even as she grew all-powerful, controlling the entire planet, that presence was still there. Since arriving here with her partner, even after striking him down, she had felt something more than humanity, something constant, something watching her. Something beyond her sight, which was unnerving. It was old, distant, hidden. It felt like it was woven into the planet itself, and it was beyond her reach. Her any Sharingan could pierce through dimensions, unravel secret of space and time, but this was different. It was different. It was like the world was keeping a secret away from her, a secret that she could not find out. She looked up to the heavens, watching the clouds drifting away. That is when she saw it. Something moving beyond the clouds. A figure descending from the heavens. He walked like he was stepping down from a staircase. Each step careful, deliberate, easy. Her eyes could see the unnatural force surrounding him. Something beyond her chakra. It wasn't natural, it wasn't chakra, it was something older, something primal. The space between heaven and earth felt so heavy for her now as she gazed up towards this man. He stood. He seemed to be in his prime. He was tall, well over 6 feet. Silver hair, light, blue eyes, as he descended towards her. His robes, white and grey, strange symbols that she never saw before. She has dealt with many civilizations. She has seen many throughout her times. But this was not something that she could understand. The energy coming off of him felt so ancient, spiritual, strange. He stopped in mid-air, hovering before her. "Well, you've been busy," he said. His voice was calm and relaxed. She was already on her feet. "Who are you?" she said, his head tilted, as if he was weighing whether he should answer. The questioner not, as he looked at her for a long moment. But he finally answered. Hodoru, he said. Hodoru Oda. Oda. Kaguya said the name slowly, as if she was tasting it. She had scoured the memories of countless humans, absorbing heritage, lineage. Yet this name exists only in whispers, fragments of myth, told by fearful elders, about lands that they should never touch, about beings that walk between the worlds. Why are you not under my genjutsu? Her voice grew sharp as she spoke. She spoke with the authority of one who had just claimed an entire world. No human should be able to resist me, she said. No human should be able to resist this. Hodoru smiled, as if he was amused. I am not bound by the laws of your eyes, Kaguya Ōtsutsuki. My complex existence is beyond your sight, beyond your reach. What you wield is chakra, a power you brought to this world. What I possess predate your arrival by millennia, he said. Her third crimson eye pulsed. You speak as though you've been watching me, she said. She wanted to hear the words. It was him. We have been, he said, confirming what she suspected. Since the moment you descended from the heavens and consumed the chakra fruit, we have observed your actions from a distance. We watch as you declare yourself a goddess and put humanity into a slumber. We? She responded. The Oda Clan, he said. Though calling us merely a clan would be an understatement of what we truly are. We are more than that. We are the inheritors of an ancient covenant, the keeper of the seal that hold back forces you cannot comprehend. Our realm exists in the space between spaces, hidden from those who may seek to exploit it. Kaguya's eyes flicker as she watched him carefully. You claim to be beyond me, yet you did nothing to stop me. If your power is so great, why allow me to cast the world into a slumber, she said. Hodoru's expression did not change, it was neutral. Because the people of this world, they're not our responsibility. Not anymore. Explain, she said. He was silent for a long moment, as if he was judging and, carefully, selecting the words that he was about to say. And then he began. Long ago, long before your kind ever set foot on this world, humanity faced extinction, not from war, not from famine, but from something worse. The spirit world was open then. It was a dimension that overlapped with this one. It was not a realm of peace or ancestors, but it was a prison for condemned spirits, malformed entities, and beings who were rejected by higher realm. They used to walk free within the human world. They fed off emotions, devouring life force, possessing body, warping minds. Kaguya listened with an unreadable expression. Humanity was in a survival state. There was no true living back then. You born and you survive. They had no means to fight back, no power to defend themselves. They were prey. That was until a spirit, his name cannot be spoken in human tongue, chose a different path. He called himself Kaido. He was intrigued by humanity. He wasn't hungry like the others. He wanted to understand it. He fell in love with it. And he fell in love with a woman. Her name was Hana Oda, my distant ancestor. His eyes grew distant, as if he was looking back into the past. Their union was forbidden, a spirit and a human mating. Cosmic laws were being broken. Hana became pregnant, something that most didn't think was even possible. A spirit has never unionized with a human before, other than seeking their flesh for hunger. And thus, something was born. It was felt before it ever took its first breath. A child between both. When the other spirits found out about this, they wanted to claim the child. Thus, Kaido made the ultimate sacrifice. He poured his spiritual essence into Hana, using his life as a key, a barrier, and a chain. This act severed the connection of the dimensions, sealing away the connection of the spiritual world to ours. The rift was slammed shut. The spirits were cast out. The spirit world became locked, barred from this dimension. Kaido consciousness became dissolved, and a part of the seal itself. Kaguya's face was now showing genuine interest, shocked to hear about this. She never knew this about mankind. Her child was born with a sea of binding, a spiritual reservoir that acts as a lock to the spiritual world. And from that day forward, the main bloodline of the Oda Clan passed down the key from generation to generations. We are not warriors that fight for glory or power. We are guardians that watch over a door that must never be opened. Then again, if it does require it, we are not above defending our own, he said, looking at her directly in the eyes. So you see, goddess, when you arrive on this world, you were not entering a realm of only mortals. You stepped onto a planet that was already protected by a force you cannot perceive. The barrier you felt between. The barrier you could never understand, that sensation. That is our work. The legacy of the Odas. For a moment there was a long silence. A long stretch of silence. Your words still don't explain your lack of intervening in my actions. He looked away. We tried to guide them a long time ago. We walked amongst them, we taught them, we protected them. But they grew arrogant. They wage war over the pettiest reasons. They destroy others for hunger, power, pride. They reminded us of the spirits that we fight to seal away. He sighed. There were others that we choose to protect, that we brought along with us, even though they can never be granted spiritual essence. They live amongst us peacefully. But we decided a long time ago that the others were broken. They've shown us that time and time again. Similar to yourself, time is not something that consumes my clan quickly. As you see me now, I have lived for a very long time, but I am not truly immortal. Eventually I would have to pass on. The seal to the next generation. Why now, she said. Why reveal yourself to me now? I was curious. You are not from this world, yet you claim it as your own. I wanted to see just how you would treat it, just how you would change it. Even now I can tell that you desire to free them. Not all though. You are not a wicked woman. You are not condemning the world out of cruelty, but because you're afraid. Your own people shall return one day for you. You wish to stop them because you grow attached. As more time passes, you grow attached to this world, and you're afraid that you won't be able to break your connection. So you would like to keep it safe. Kaguya was stunned. How could he know that much? The next moment he stood beside her. Kaguya was frightened. What just happened? Did he teleport? Her eyes were able to see the finest detail of everything, but she didn't see what just happened. I'm looking forward to see just how you fix humanity. The next moment she turned, he was gone. It was like he never existed. Many years later, the Sage of Six Paths, her own son, along with his brother, sealed Kaguya away. The Tail was divided across the elemental nation. First there was clans, small little villages. However, you had those that desired to see something better, to see something bigger. Children that desired to see something more. Throughout endless years of fighting between the Senju and the Uchiha, two boys came together to see that stop. But even with the clan wars, even with the chaos, there were certain clans that were never touched, most of them not possessing special powers. There were certain villages that were never attacked. There were certain land that, despite being so open, were never marched upon. All the young ones knew was the elders gave them a warning. Their forefathers told them that do not interfere, do not provoke, as monsters live above them. Monsters that could end their very existence with a thought. The children grew, fearing these tales. More time passed, though, as some believed that they were just that, fairy tales. Generations after generations of Uchiha and Senju passing down in countless line until two special boys, Madara Uchiha and Hoshirama Senju, the ones that began the formation of it all. Villages start to form after their union, their friendship, their bond. They were once enemies, friends at first turned into enemies, and then they came to an understanding between one another. Other villages form, Kumo, Kiri, the stone, the sand. Smaller villages, they all came. But peace requires resources, and resources require land. And there was a vast stretch of land that was never touched, was never claimed because of stories, because of fairy tales. The land was rich in materials. It had all sorts of cave mines. You had those that passed, seeing the resources. The very atmosphere itself felt like it was filled with natural vitality. And yet, due to the legends, due to the whispers, they were left untouched. However, as Hoshirama Senju brought the villages together, they wanted more. However, Hoshirama was a kind man. We should speak to the Oda Clan, he said. He knew of their existence, they all knew. But knowing and seeing is two different things. Very, very different. Yes, they were. If they truly exist, we must approach them with respect. Negotiations, he said to them. He grew up with his own father telling him never to make a move like what they were thinking right now. Despite being bitter enemies back then, Madara's father and Hoshirama's father, they had one rule. They would never move against the Odas. Well, not them, but the locations that they mark as their own. There were reasons that the younger generation was never truly told. They were just told to stay in their place. However, negotiations. Tobirama, the younger brother, spoke with, well, arrogance. Brother, he said, you speak as if we're dealing with equals. These stories are relics of a bygone age, he said. If the Oda clans indeed exist, they're likely a small remnants of hermits living in isolations. We have the strength of the 5 great villages behind us. We should take what is rightfully ours. Sitting across was the man himself, Madara Uchiha. It's not often that he agreed with Tobirama, but this was one of them. Tobirama is right. We heard the name Odas, but we never seen them. We've heard stories, but we never see these actions. We can't allow stories to keep us in fear. The Raikage, a towering man with a massive lightning tattoo, agreed. The first Mizukage, nodding in agreement. The Tishikage as well. And then the Kazekage. They all agree. Hoshirama sighed. Very well, he said. But let us know our opponent's actions before we rise conflict. There will be no conflict, only acceptance, Tobirama said. Thus, despite their arrogance, they brought armies. Armies to make the Oda clan give up before they even understand that they were already conquered. They walk, their banner unified, the Kages leading them as they move into unknown forbidden lands, marching into territories that they were not supposed to be in. The land seemed like it was untouched by time. The valleys, the mountains, they were spectacular. There were small villages scattered throughout, as they were filled with people that were free from the shinobi life. No war, no conflict, no chaos. All of them had a unique mark. It was a mark of the Oda clan. A circle. It was large, with 3 small circles overlapping one another in the center. However, something was wrong. Farmers and villagers, when they saw the shinobis marching, they weren't afraid. They were pitying them, yes. The people actually looked at them with pity. An elder man saw them and spoke. "You should not be here," he said, as he gazed towards a passing army. "The Oda protects us. They will not allow this." Tobirama gave the man a warning. "Your protectors are a myth. Stand aside." The old man did not even try to fight. He simply stepped aside. The moment he did, the sky itself seemed to open. 3 individuals descended down from the heavens. The first was a man in his 20s. He had dark, gray hair. It looked almost black, but it was not. Piercing blue eyes. His hand stuck in his pocket as he spoke. His voice sounded amused. Well, look what we have here. A little army." The second was a woman. Her hair was much lighter, and her eyes were also silver as well. Her expression was calm but serious as she folded her arms. "Natsu, this is not time to joke around. They violated the treaty." "Oh, come on, Juvia." The man now known as Natsu with his hands in his pocket said with a laugh. "You have to admit, it's a little bit exciting. I never thought I would see the day. I mean, when was the last time that we got to do something?" The third was a much larger man, standing at 7 foot tall, dark hair and sharp eyes. His presence was cold and, well, domineering. "Silence," he said. "We are here to enforce law and order. Nothing more." Natsu shrugged. "Whatever you say, Ichigo," he said. The 3 figures, Natsu, Ichigo, and Juvia, all of them stood there. Between the shinobi and the lush forests behind them, Hashirama stepped forward, raising his hand in a gesture of peace. "We do not come for conflict. We wish to speak dialogue. This land has remained unclaimed for generations, and the villages of the shinobi world wish to use it for..." "The land is not unclaimed," Ichigo interrupted. "It belongs to the Oda clan. It was granted to us through ancient covenant, a pact that was forged long before your villages existed." "You have no right here," he said. "Ancient covenant." Madara spoke up. "Who decided what we can or what we cannot claim?" Natsu grinned widen. "I like that one." He got a little fire about him. Natsu, Juvia warned, knowing his playful manner. However, Natsu already moved. He had no fear, despite the army being large, despite several Kage 11 ninjas standing there. He had absolutely no fear. The next moment he was in the center of the army. He struck the ground with such force. Shinobis were sent flying away. Natsu, Ichigo barked. Stand down! But the damage was done. Kunais and shurikens and jutsus started to erupt. A combined attack was launched towards the Odas. However, even as fires taste against Natsu's flesh, he stepped out unharmed. He smiled. That tickles. Kunais and shurikens were swatted away. As Juvia raised her hand, a ripple exploded through the sky. It was like air itself could not stabilize as it exploded. Entire platoons were wiped away, blown back with considerable amount of force. The strange thing was, not a single shinobi died from it. It almost seemed like they were holding back. Ichigo released a sigh as the shinobis rushed towards him. He held his hand up as a hammer materialized, spiritual essence coating it. He struck the ground. A shockwave sent the army into chaos. Natsu smiled. He pulled out a wooden sword. He cut through several shinobis. The problem was it was a wooden sword, but somehow they felt like they were sliced open. "This is fun," he said. "Come on, give me an actual challenge." Madara, taking that as an invite, rushed forward. Tobirama, not to be outdone, threw a kunai forward. Natsu held both of his hands out and blocked them. As they kicked his arms, he smiled until suddenly he stopped. A sensation. Hoshirama gazed upwards. All of them paused. Natsu vanished away, landing beside the other three. "Now you want to step back in line," Juvia said. He placed a finger to his lips. "Shh." The three Odas looked up. Something was coming. The army felt it. The Kage stopped their people. An unnerving sensation was descending upon them all, just as Hotaru had done years ago. He descended down. He was walking on the sky like an invisible staircase. He seemed younger though, like he was no older than 18 years old, like he just turned 18. His hair stood on edge. It was gold, like embers of a burning flame, down to the very descent of the flame essence. It was like his hair was moving and floating. His eyes, a crystal blue, as he walked calmly, descending down. His cloak showed the Oda symbol proudly displayed on the front, the circles curving around to the back. As he descended, all of the Odas, Ichigo, all of them dropped down to their knees. "Lord Naruto," Ichigo said. The young man, Naruto Oda, he landed slowly, his gaze sweeping over the army. He calmly walked. The shinobis, despite just being in a fight a moment ago, they felt something wrong. He stepped straight towards Hoshirama Senju, ignoring the others. "I am Naruto Oda," he said, his voice being heard across the entire field. "Leader of the Oda Clan." Hoshirama stepped forward. "I am Hoshirama Senju, the first Hokage of Konoha. As bad as it seems, we did not come here seeking conflict. You came seeking land," Naruto interrupted him. "Land that does not belong to you." "This land has been unclaimed for generations," Madara said, his Sharingan fixed on Naruto. Something was wrong though. His Sharingan was getting nothing. By all perception, there was no one there, which was confusing and odd. Despite him feeling and literally talking to someone, Naruto tilted his head as he smiled, but the smile did not reach his eyes. "Unclaimed," he responded. "You believe this land is unclaimed because you have not seen us. But we have always been here. A service that was done a long time ago, that saved this world from annihilation. This clan was given to us. I must say, I do cherish it. What service? Tobirama said. Naruto's smile faded away. Something you wouldn't understand. Something your forefathers forbid you from doing, stepping and moving against us. However, the world has changed, I see. You children have grown arrogant. Children? Madara said, taking offense to that statement. If anyone is a child here, it is you, said Madara. Do not allow looks to deceive you, said Naruto. I am much older than I look, Madara Uchiha. Far older than you can imagine. Madara was confused. Naruto raised his hand, and the entire place started to tremble. Madara saw it just for a moment. He had to power down his Sharingan, afraid that he would go blind. The force of energy simply erupting, like a geyser exploding outwards. It wasn't anything that the shinobis had ever encountered. Raw spiritual essence erupted from his hand. The next moment, Naruto lowered his hand to the ground, and a wave of energy split the earth, almost like the entire planet had been split in half. Hashirama immediately summoned a massive construct. Unfortunately, though, as the construct raised forward, it was ripped to sunders. Everyone get down! Throwing themselves out of the way, shinobis ducked for cover. The violent force stretching through and beyond their army, countless were sent away. Behind Naruto, the land that belonged to the Odas remained perfectly intact. Not a speck of dirt had touched his clothes or the land from the line between them. I could tell that you would impress me, said Naruto, as he looked towards Hashirama. It seems like the gap in humanity's strength has finally been filled. Humanity has grown since the last time I saw it, Naruto said. He saw as they stood, refusing to bow down, despite just witnessing a piece of his power. I'm amused by your resilience, but understand this, your numbers, your strength that you currently possess, is nothing. He flew into the sky, higher and higher and higher. He raised both of his hands. The sky itself darkened. Spiritual energy seemed to stitch together, twisting and turning. Shinobis looked up in fright. Is that? Tobirama whispered. It's a meteor. Hashirama said, his voice trembling. He summoned a meteor. The massive construct was above Naruto. It split into two, and then once again, the remnants of the split created another. 5 for 5 nations, Naruto said as they started spinning in the air. Flames started to erupt around them, but the flames were red. Everyone was confused. I will give you all a few seconds. 5 in total. It's fitting, don't you think? Leave this place, or the trajectory of these meteors shall be your home. Immediately, Hashirama stepped away. Others, arrogance, but Hashirama grabbed Tobirama. Even Madara, he told him to be silent, showing that he was indeed the Hokage. Naruto watched the demonstration down below and smiled. As the army started to retreat, as they did, the rocks started to crumble, not falling but crumbling away into nothing. They had no choice. They had to retreat. That was a disaster, Tobirama said, as he realized they walked into a fight that they couldn't have won. They had no idea that power like that was even right there, right under their nose. They were aware of the army and they only sent 3. And they were amused, Madara said, that Uchiha pride feeling disrespected, that he was seen as nothing but a child, the man even referring to him as so. The first Raikage, his arms folded. So the stories were true. The Oda Clan, they're real. That is why our forefathers wanted us to stay away. Who has power to summon a meteor just like that? As they conversed amongst one another, they were terrified. Power like that. If they wanted to, if he wanted to, he could come after their village. Retaliation. I don't believe that he will. They all turned to Hoshirama. I am not sure what it is. However, just as I had warned before, I do not see them as bad people. He only wished to protect what belongs to them. We were trespassing on their land, Hoshirama said. He did not think that Naruto or the others were bad, as that Natsu one just jumped the gun. He saw the others trying to rein him in, but he seemed to be hyperactive. Yes. Time skip. They could make no plans to counter this. Even if they would, Hoshirama made it very clear that he would not participate, and he warned them not to either. They left. No death. And Naruto made sure of that. He flexed his power, scarving the earth. Hoshirama believed that he was testing them. Not a single one of their shinobis died. Something has never happened like this before. They go to war and yet they survive. 100%. This has never happened before. However, as they stood there discussing, word reached from Konoha. It felt like ice appear in Hoshirama veins. The bird landed down. Naruto Oda is at the Hidden Leaf village. What? Madara's Sharingan flare back to life. We must go. Tobirama, ready despite the fear of knowing that they might go up against some monsters. Time skip. Hoshirama Senju had never moved that fast in his life. Behind him, even Madara and Tobirama could not keep up with his pace. They were fast as well, extremely so. But Hoshirama, enhanced by his Sage mode, was moving. He tore through the area, his speed enhancing to levels that were simple above understanding of normal shinobis. A reason why he was named the god of shinobis. A reason why he stood apart from most. A reason why he walked in a league amongst his own. The being who was able to summon meteors, who was able to relieve shockwave that could send his army packing. That being was now within his village. Tobirama cursed at not perfecting the flying Raijin. If he had, he would have been able to teleport from vast distances. But no, he only created for battle. Short distances, clashing against his enemies. To outpace the Uchiha eyes, the Sharingan, mostly. He really had something against them. However, as they got to the village, the heavens were calm, the place was normal. The sky was beautiful and peaceful. Children ran in the street, calm and relaxed. Nothing was on fire, nothing was burning, nothing was destroyed. Lord Hokage, you've returned. Where is he? Where's Naruto Oda? The guess. He's at your compound. Lady Mito invited him for tea. Tea? Hoshirama said. She invited him? What was she thinking? Tobirama questioned. Moving towards the compound. The Senju compound was quiet as they arrived. Too quiet. Hoshirama burst through the door, his chakra already flaring. But what he saw stopped him in his tracks. Naruto sat cross-legged, in the center of the room with Mito, enjoying the tea, relaxing and smiling. Hoshirama's wife, Mito Uzumaki, the cup of tea in her hand, she was smiling as well. They were just talking and relaxing. The man that had threatened to wipe them out a few hours ago was completely different, relaxed, calm, as Mito seemed to be enjoying his company. And that is when he tried to impress me by creating a forest in the middle of the village square. Mito said as Naruto chuckled, so he didn't account that the roots would tear up half the roads. The both of them laugh. He sounds like a man who acts before he thinks. That's pretty much defining him in many different ways. Mito said with a smile. Given the battlefield that they just fled a moment ago, Hoshirama was having a hard time fixating his mind on this new atmosphere. As Naruto gazed towards him, "You can come in. All three of you," he said. "There's no need to lurk in the shadows." Tobirama and Madara revealed themselves. They had tried to suppress their chakra. However, he knew that they were there. As Mito got to her feet, "There's no need to exert yourself," she said to her husband. "Everything is fine." "Hoshirama Senju, it's good to meet you under better circumstances." I don't understand." "The threat. You send us fleeing away, and now you're here drinking tea with my wife." "I never threatened to destroy your village. I demonstrated that I could, if you gave me a choice to do so. There's a difference." "A choice? You call that a choice?" Tobirama said. "You holding meteors above your head. You brought armies to land that weren't yours. Tell me, Tobirama, what would you have done if some strangers descended upon your village and you had the means to scare them off?" Tobirama's jaw clenched. He said nothing. "I came here to have a proper conversation with you. I came to speak about what you built and potential for the future." "Potential?" "Yes. You've done something truly remarkable. You've united the clans, not just under your banner, but because of your strength, others even unite to overcome you. And even then, you've brought peace to all of them." "I'm truly impressed," Naruto said. Hoshirama had a mix of emotions. Confusion, pride. Well, mostly confusion. "So is that why you're here?" "No. Humanity has reached a crossroad. You've grown stronger, more unified. But because of that strength, dangers are coming. Forces that you can't even imagine." "What forces?" Madara said. Naruto turned and looked at the Uchiha. He looked him in the eyes. "Madara Uchiha, you carry a truly heavy burden. I can see it in your eyes." "You don't know me," Madara said. "I know enough," said Naruto. "I know the sacrifices that you will make for your village. I know the burden that you carry for your own brothers. I know in the near future that you believe peace is only temporary and that it's slowly breaking apart because the actions that brought it together was fragile." "What are you trying to say?" Madara said. Naruto turned back to Tobirama. "Mito spoke fondly about you as we talked. She told me about your dream. A world where children don't have to die in war. A world where people are not afraid to live their most beautiful dreams. It's more than a dream. I intend to make it a reality. I believe you, and I commend you. Can I ask you a question though?" "What is it?" "If it comes down to it, if the safety of this dream and your village are lay on the shoulders of your brother over there, and I'm not talking about your blood, would you kill him to make it a reality?" The question hung in the air. Hoshirama gazing towards Naruto. I don't understand what. Why would you ask me that? Because I need to know. Madara, he's more than your friend. He's like your brother. Despite having a living brother left, Madara has been there for you. You were willing to die for him. Hashirama was confused. How do you know that? I know a lot more than you think. Answer my question. Madara was getting pissed at Naruto trying to, manipulate the circumstances in his own favor to get answers, like if he was in charge. I love my village. I will protect my village always, and guide anyone from the darkest path, Hashirama said. That is something I refuse to give up on. That is something I refuse to fail at. Good answer. Not what I truly desire though. But I'll let it go. Why did you even ask me that? Because, as I said, there is darkness in this world. Darkness inside of him as well. You speak like you know who I am. This is the second time that you're assuming by just looking at me. What do you see with those eyes of yours, Madara said. His anger starting to show. This person was starting to irritate him. Despite the earlier testimony of Naruto's strength, Madara still was arrogant enough to fight. I'm not your enemy, as much as you seem to believe. Well, the questions that you're asking, you're not helping yourself. And we don't need your help. What exactly do you want, Tobirama said. What I want is not important right now. But trust me, you do need my help. All of you do. Naruto looked towards Hashirama and back at Tobirama. Hashirama saw something. Tell me, do you have any other siblings? He questioned Naruto. The question coming out of nowhere. It seemed strange to Madara and Tobirama. Naruto smiled. Quite perceptive with those eyes of yours, yes. I have siblings. I have my younger brother. The one that you saw earlier. His name is Natsu. Younger brother. He looks, no offense, but he looks older than you. We Odas do not age like normal people. I've been around for a long time. I've seen empire rise and fall. I watch humanity stumble and grow. That is why I told you. You have closed the gap in your strength. There was a weakness for a long time. A time where the Sharingan couldn't even manifestate. A time where the Senju blood was weak even though there was still war and chaos. But now, the evolutions are growing constantly. Through you too, the clans would be stronger than ever. They were all truly stunned. Could this person in fact be immortal? Despite looking no older than he was, probably 18 or 19 years old. Yet he spoke with such maturity, such understanding. He reached out and placed a hand on Hashirama's shoulder. He gazed directly into his eyes. The look was strange. Hashirama did not understand it. You will do well. We will talk in the coming future. With that, he was gone. One moment he was there, the next he was just gone. He's right, you know, about the darkness. Mito suddenly speaking up had everyone turning towards her, not realizing that she had returned right back there. What did you talk about before we arrived? He asked me about the Uzumaki clan, about our sealing arts. My people, the older generation, they spoke of him fondly. They knew him rather well. That is why I told you that. Your actions are stupid. I do not know much, but I do know that they were indeed real. Hashirama had spoken to her. He had told her everything. She had been the one to warn him not to do anything stupid. At the same time, it's almost like she knew that everything was going to work out fine. Why did you let him in? You had no idea how dangerous he was. I had no choice, she said, turning toward Tobirama, who spoke. You don't understand what kind of man he is. When you look at him, you don't feel chakra. He doesn't have chakra. None of his people do. They're operating on another level. They're using something called spiritual energy. Something that no other humans can access. That is not someone that you can stop. Besides, it's not like any of you were here. The village was unguarded. Did you want me to risk a war with someone that could wipe out the entire village? He was silent at that. Now, as I was saying, the story is passed down in my clan. The Odas. Things that others weren't supposed to know. They're not just a clan, Hoshirama. There's something older. Something predating the Sage of Sixth Path, the man we call the god of this world. It is said that they keep balance, that they keep law and order. So despite his youthful appearance, I believe he is their leader, and he's much older than he looks. What exactly are they keeping in balance, Hoshirama said. I'm not sure. Those stories were never told to me. But I did hear rumors that if one was to visit where the Odas lie their head, one would understand. But I also heard about the kind of man the Odas are. They're ruthless. Some walking with destruction that we can't even understand. And yet, he spoke to you so calmly. Yet, his conversation was so fluid with you. I believe there are some secrets that he knows that we don't. Mito was right. Years later, a catastrophic battle shook the land as Mito sealed the nine tails inside of herself. Another symbol that kept the peace. Each village is getting a peace. Each villages were discussing about the beasts. Another part of the alliance to keep them stable, to keep them in check. Naruto was right. Madara, he isolated himself. He started to act strange. He started to try and dominate their allies, to push his own agenda. Before they knew it, he wanted the Uchihas to join him. He wanted them to rally behind him. He wanted them to stand with him to war, but they refused. Mountains were destroyed. Valleys were ripped asunder. New entire valleys were created. As the two heavy hitters march across the land as demons, trampling everything around them. In the end, I'm sorry, my friend, Hoshirama said, tears running down his cheek. I'm sorry, as he plunged the blade through his back. Forgive me. Madara's body dropped, hitting the ground. Hoshirama looked up, feeling something, but there was nothing there, as he collapsed to his knees, tired. Meanwhile, standing there observing was a creature. He was known as Black Zetsu. However, he wasn't alone. So, the plan is now in motion, Black Zetsu said. Indeed, Madara has seen it. He's gripped onto it. Even now, he refused to let death claim him, but he will allow the world to believe that death has claimed him. Zetsu spoke up. It wasn't so long ago that your brother walked these lands. Something that you said would not happen. What if he finds out? What if you make your move now? Your brother will not like it. The person stepped forward. It was the same face, except for the features. His hair was much darker, and his eyes were silver. As he stood there rather calmly, this person has the exact same face as Naruto. He was the brother of Naruto, Oda. For now, he does not matter. I have gone this long without being found by him, and nothing will stop me from achieving my plans. Nothing will stop me. He was never meant to be in that seat. I was. He spoke with venom in his tone. It should have been mine. I am the older one, the stronger one, the smarter one. I am the one that sees reality as it truly is. Yet, he was chosen. But it does not matter. I will get what I want. You mean we will get what we want? Ah yes, your mother. Freeing her from her prison is not difficult. However, your participation in my plan will be her victory, her freedom. This tiny planet does not truly matter to me. She can do as she must, as long as I get what I want. As long as I, Menma Oda, is placed upon the throne as the ruler of the Oda Clan. As long as I get what I want, your trivial matters and this world does not bring me any importance. Dismissing my main life mission is an insult to my very nature, but as long as it keeps us cooperating, I will swallow my pride. Menma looked towards Zetsu like his existence was not really important. While he had the exact same face like Naruto, except for the hair and eyes, there was a much darker tone, a much deeper wickedness in those eyes. Menma turned his gaze. We must go. The next moment, they were gone, as they made their way off just like that. The bodies were brought back to the village. Hoshirama placed to rest. Madara locked away. Everyone believed that he was dead. However, as everyone was gone, his body was placed in a secured crate. One of his eyes became white. Reality bent to his will, rewriting his death. He lost vision in that eye as he broke free out of his confinement, breathing back in the fresh air of reality. Madara Uchiha lives on. Time skip. Naruto sat down on a throne. It seemed to be the perfect size for him. However, the throne was not any normal seating. Down to the very pieces of the material that was crafted, it wasn't iron, it was something much more. Behind Naruto was a wall, a tapestry of the clan lore of their legacy. A young Naruto was also engraved into the wall with his father. And close by was the Sage of Six Paths, the man that had said to build this world and turn it into what it is. Well, the legends were sometime wrong. Back then, Naruto was a young child. The more history showed, the more time passed. There also was another side of the wall with darkness that most people couldn't even understand. Naruto was simply sitting there. His eyes were closed. It looked like he was sleeping, but he was not. He was in a strange, restful state. The door creaked open. Stepping inside was his younger brother, somehow looking older than him. Well, there was a reason to that. As Natsu stepped forward. You were right. Madara tried to rally the others. They refused. Their battle ended with Hoshirama as the victor. He's now recuperating. You've been away for a couple of years. Are we going to walk amongst the humans again? Naruto looked towards him. Do not pretend like you haven't been sneaking out and going into the human villages. Natsu blinked, sweating as he did. You know about that. I did. But You haven't been causing any problems, so I'll let it slide. As long as you stay in line and don't do anything foolish, it should be okay. Naruto got off the throne and made his way down. Natsu looked at the wall. As Naruto turned, seeing his gaze, the painting of the three of them. Menma, Naruto and Natsu. Menma, the oldest. Naruto, the second child. Natsu, the baby. It seemed rather strange, but they were all born at the same time, but just in different sections. So many mystery of the Oda clan, how they reproduce in a rather strange way. Well, the three of them were special. You see, throughout the entire line that came from Hana, the one to first craft their clan by having a child with a spiritual entity, Kaido. There was always one child, always one throughout the line, and it has always been a boy. Never has there been more than one. For the first time, their mother had 3 children, Menma, Naruto, and Natsu. It is something that changed the fundamental law of the Odas. And because of that, things that weren't supposed to happen went down a very dark path and happened in a very strange way. Naruto placed a hand on Natsu's shoulder. It's okay, it's not, Natsu said. As he was serious, most times he wasn't, enjoying life by laughing and joking around, but now, we cannot allow him to achieve what he desires. And the only way to stop him is to kill him. Because if we don't, humanity, everything would just... it will never be the same again. So how can we stop him without killing him? Or have you already made up your mind that we have to? Not so question Naruto. Such difficult choices and responsibility are not on your shoulder. He's my brother as well. I know, but the choice is mine. I'm sparing you from this headache. Now, we have other things to do. Besides, you've been to the smaller villages. I'm not sure that you've been to the larger ones. Don't you wish to accompany me to Konoha? You're just trying to change the topic and to sway my thoughts. Yes, I am. Not to release a heavy breath. Fine, he said. Perhaps it's best to keep my mind occupied. Meanwhile, having covered his track and switched his corpse, Madara Uchiha arrived to a location that was already set out. He went into the battle, afraid that he would lose. He went into the battle with the 9 tails and Susanoo, he still lost. There was always an option for his loss, for his defeat. Thus, he had this place already selected, already picked out for him. He moved towards it. There was a massive tree waiting. However, something was wrong. Someone was here, sitting on the throne that he had crafted for himself, the tree resting behind it. Hello there, Madara Uchiha. I believe we should have a proper conversation. Madara blinked. Naruto? He still remembered that name rather well. Naruto Oda. Oh, I'm not Naruto. I am Menma. And I think we should have this conversation. A conversation about the future. Menma said with a smile. But guys, be in subs right here. If you would like to see part 2 of this, just go ahead and tell me, and I'll be posting it as soon as possible for you guys to enjoy. So sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. More coming out soon.